Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, y'all's chosen one. We're gonna continue in the great book of Deuteronomy. We're on chapter 15. So let's just get to it. Good morning, Boker Tov. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. All right, what kind of release are we talking about here? And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called Ayah's release. How about that? So all you who have loans, if you have a loan or something like that, you can't pay it off. After 7 years, it should be written off, and it'd be called Ayah's release. Of a of a foreigner, thou mayest exact it again. So if you're not of Yasher Allah, you can exact it again because, because you're not of Yasher Allah. But that which is thine with thy brother, thy hand shall release. So, like I said, within Yasher Allah, if somebody owes you a debt, then if they can't pay it after 7 years, you should release it. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for Ayah shall greatly bless thee in the land which Ayah thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. And one day there will be no more poor. There will be no more poor. There will be no more capitalism. There will be no more any of this other stuff. And that's what the Most High is saying, because the land will be blessed. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of Ayah thy power, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For Ayah thy power blesseth thee, as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations. So right now we're borrowing. When you see people going out and pay their loans or title loans and getting all these loans and stuff, we're borrowing from them. We're the nation of Yasher Allah, and we see us borrowing from them. They're not borrowing from us. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. That's the promise, man. That's the promise of what's to come when he comes back. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in the land which Ayah thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, as you see today. Because, when we get into the curses, we see that, man. People are callous toward poor people, veterans and stuff of that nature, and they're callous toward them. But thou shalt open thy hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. So, if you're doing pretty good for yourself, uh, give generously to the poor and needy. I see some YouTube videos where, some people, in the inner city, they might not even have that much money, but they give to the poor. I have respect for that. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is at hand, and thine eye be evil against the poor brother. And thou givest him not, and he cry unto Ayah against thee, and it be sin unto thee. So just because it's the release year, don't harden your heart. They're still poor. Still give generously. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest it to him. And don't be like, oh man, why I gotta give you money, man? I work hard for this. No, man. Give. There always be rich and there always be poor, but not in the kingdom. Because that for the thing Ayah thy power shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thy hand to. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to the needy in the land. So, in the land, the Most High saying there always will be poor. for some reason, we don't know, but it will be. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. So, even when we came over here in the boats, if they wanted to, let's see here. That's not even slave labor, that's just a hand servant. So, a hand servant, you're supposed to let him go after 6 years. And when thou sendest him out from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Don't let him go away empty-handed, He worked for you 6 years, he or she worked for you 6 years, so, don't let him go out empty-handed. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith I, Yah, thy power, have blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. So he's helped you earn your empire. So, it's only right that he gets sent out with something. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and I, Yah, thy power, redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today, because once you were slaves, you should have love for your brother, man. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee, and thine house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And also unto the maidservant thou shalt do likewise. So now we're talking about kind of like ownership. And so this was kind of like slavery. When we get into slavery, there's actually rules to it. So now we're talking about not a maid servant. We're talking about a bondman now. That is kind of like a slave right there. You know what I'm saying? So now we're talking something different. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, for he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee, in serving thee 6 years, and I, Yah, thy power, shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the firstling males that come of thy herd and thy flock thou shalt sanctify unto I, Yah, thy power. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before I, Yah, thy power, year by year, in the place which I, Yah, shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto I, Yah, thy power. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. There we go again with that. So I'm just sticking to not eating anything unclean anyway. Why would you put anything unclean in your body? So, what this chapter told me was that, after 6 years, on the 7th year, whatever debt that you have within the nation, like I said, if you borrow money now from people, you're probably not borrowing from your nation, so that rule doesn't apply. But if you're borrowing from within the nation as another Hebrew, then after 7 years, if they can't pay off your debt, then you're supposed to just wipe that off, And the other thing I got out of this is, kind of like a one rule of slavery. After 6 years, if a bond man or bond woman serves you, 7 years, you're supposed to let them go. If they want to stay, then they can stay. But when you do release them after the 7th year, you shouldn't let them go away empty-handed, because they've helped build your empire. All right, it's your boy Yah's Chosen One. I get at you guys on chapter 16 on the next vid. Love you, y'all. Shalom. Have a good day.